Part 120. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1191. Because Bai Ling was on guard. Xiao Xian didn't figure out what Bai Ling's trump card was until he went to the flame cemetery. As for the end, his abnormal behavior even aroused the curiosity of Mr. Chen. Sitting on the carriage heading to the flame cemetery, Mr. Chen looked at Xiao Xian curiously. What's wrong? From the way you look, you seem to be very interested in Bai Ling. No. I'm just interested in her strength. Could it be that this ancient flame holy body can be so powerful? Just by relying on a set of exercises, it can shorten so much training time? Doesn't that mean that it will also have this benefit when it comes to attacking the Golden God realm in the future? Xiao Xian also expressed his doubts. Regarding this question, Mr. Chen did not hide it. He nodded and said, "You are right. Dan is the unparalleled power of the ancient flame holy body. For ordinary people, it is indeed a long process to advance from the peak of the Kang God realm to the little Golden God realm. But if it is the ancient saint body, this time can be greatly shortened. This means that Bai Ling's ancient flame holy body awakened a little late. Otherwise, I'm afraid he would have reached this state earlier. It's really outrageous." Xiao Xian couldn't help but glance at Bai Ling. At this time, he also noticed that after the update of Chen Lao's skills, Bai Ling's temperament had also undergone some changes. The original gentle temperament had become much sharper, and his face became a bit more stern. This is very different from the gentle and lively Bai Ling Xiao Xian saw for the first time. "But, I think she seems to have undergone some changes," Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. "This is inevitable. Since she is pregnant with the ancient holy body, the responsibilities she needs to bear will be different. The higher the level of cultivation, the more Taoyuan can be comprehended. Therefore, there will not be as much as when she was in a low realm." "So happy?" Mr. Chen shook his head. "Perhaps this is why Mr. Bai Yan is unwilling to let her change her practice." "Say it." Xiao Xian couldn't help but look at Bai Ling, his face serious. Speaking of which, he had learned something about human nature and divinity before, and knew that in the process of cultivation, if he wanted to improve his strength quickly, he would inevitably lose some of his humanity as a human being. It makes people become indifferent. Xiao Xian also feels sorry for this situation. In his opinion, this is not a normal cultivation process and should be changed. "Don't worry, Mr. Xiao Xian. Even if I really achieve something in the future, I will never forget you," Bai Ling said sincerely. Xiao Xian was also a little moved when he heard this. In fact, if you really want to talk about it, apart from helping Bian old man to cure his illness, which can be regarded as helping Bian Valley, he really didn't help Bian Valley much in other aspects. But it will actually happen. This sounds extremely incredible. Along the way, Xiao Xian also asked Bai Ling some precautions about the flame path. No need to say more. But what I have to say is that after awakening this physique, her cultivation speed also became very fast. I've been here once before, and I fought against a Dragon God realm guy for 3 days and 3 nights. There was no winner or loser," Mr. Chen said casually. "That, young Master Xiao Xian, I didn't mean to do this, actually." After all, he was about to go to a place like the Flame Cemetery, and he had to at least have some basic understanding of the flame path. Although he has never really seen a strong person at the level of the Dragon God realm fight against each other, he can still imagine that if such a level of opponent is fighting against each other, it is possible to destroy an area if it is a life and death battle. Mr. Chen seemed to be somewhat proud. "In the future, if you can achieve something, I will naturally be happy for you. However, sometimes, you can only choose one between divinity and humanity." "Speak of it." Xiao Xian was a little incredible. This is also the reason why many cultivators of the dragon god realm and even higher levels are buried in the flame cemetery. According to what Bai Ling said, after the death of a cultivator above the dragon god realm, although the body and soul have been destroyed, there is still a kind of spiritual thought. And under Bai Ling's explanation, Xiao Xian also discovered that the way of fire was far more profound and mysterious than he imagined. What interested him most was that fire not only represented destruction, but also represented rebirth. 3 days and nights. That battle at that time was somewhat famous in the Flame Cemetery. This, Dragon God Realm level battle, after such a long time, won't it directly destroy the world? This is also an ability of the Phoenix clan, Nirvana and Rebirth. In the past, it took several days of practice to understand the Tao Yun, but it could be understood in a blink of an eye, especially for the flames. Xian stepped onto the 4th floor of the flame tower. Bai Ling also looked guilty. On the contrary, during his stay in Bian Valley, he was often taken care of by Bai Ling. He did not expect Bai Ling to speak like this, which also made him feel deeply moved. Xiao Xian also had to admire this. Since Bai Ling awakened the ancient flame holy body, she has gained a lot of things that she didn't have before. This kind of cold temperament really makes Xiao Xian a little uncomfortable. The magical thing about the flame cemetery is that this place has an extremely strong way of flames. It is very likely that the spiritual thoughts of these powerful people will be reborn again and resurrected from the fire. It is said that in the flame cemetery, several strong men at the dragon god level have been resurrected. As for the characters above the dragon god level, they have never been resurrected. At this time, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were also interested. They only knew that Mr. Chen was from Zhongzhou before, but they didn't expect that he had done such a big thing in the flame cemetery. Xiao Xian shook his head and said a little helplessly. She didn't know what was going on. Ever since she awakened from the ancient flame holy body, she had an unusual feeling. She had a feeling of indifference towards everyone, and she felt like she was the only one in the world. Mr. Chen, have you been to the flame cemetery? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. But now, looking at the appearance in front of me. In fact, intuitively, he did not think that this way of cultivation was correct. Logically speaking, no matter what kind of cultivation method, it should not be sacrificed at the expense of human nature. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1192. Along the way, Xiao Xian asked more than once what Mr. Chen was doing in the flame cemetery. However, Mr. Chen seemed to be very secretive about this matter. No matter how Xiao Xian inquired, he remained tight-lipped and had no intention of saying anything. This also made Xiao Xian somewhat helpless. In the end, he had no choice but to change the question and ask where he would stay when he went to the flame cemetery this time. Regarding this issue, Mr. Chen had already made plans and mentioned a place called Tomb Spirit Sect. This time, Xiao Xian was stunned. He has practiced in 3 continents and has seen countless sections. Basically all sects have a nice sect name. Where can there be such a weird name as Tomb Spirit Sect? Is it possible that the sect is full of tombstones? In response to this, Xiao Xian still had a little doubt on his face, and asked a little puzzled, Mr. Chen, what kind of sect name is this? Is it a bit too unpleasant? Although the name of the sect is unpleasant, the strength of this sect is no less than that of your White Flame Valley and Yuling section, Elder Chen said. Ah! So strong, Xiao Xian was surprised. In the Tomb Spirit sect, there are no less than 3 strong men at the Dragon God realm, and a dozen Golden God realm tomb spirits, Elder Chen said confidently. How about it? With such help from the sect, what do you think? Are you more confident about winning the Green Flame Staff? Then you mean that the Tomb Spirit sect has a good relationship with you? Xiao Xian's eyes also lit up. Good. When I was in Zhongzhou, I had a close relationship with the head of the tomb spirit section. With my reputation, I could get help from their section," Mr. Chen said confidently. After hearing this, Bai Ling and Xiao Xian also gained some confidence. If it is true what Mr. Chen said, the strength of the tomb spirit sect should be second to none in the Flame Cemetery. With the help of such sects, wouldn't their chances of getting the green flame staff be even greater? Big. The carriage borrowed from White Flame Valley is very powerful. According to Mr. Chen's estimation, it would take about 2 days to reach the boundary of the Flame Cemetery. Originally, Xiao Xian was relatively confident about the trip to the Flame Cemetery. However, when he heard this, he couldn't help but be stunned. Both Yuling sect and Bian Valley are located in the eastern part of Nanzan Haizhu. If they take a carriage, it will still take 2 days. Doesn't this mean that the location of the Flame Cemetery should not be in the eastern part of Nanzan Haizhu? This way. Not good news for him. After all, whether it is the Yuling sect behind him or the Bian Valley behind Bai Ling, they are both sects in the eastern part of Nanzan Haizhu. If the Flame Cemetery is in the eastern part of Nanzan Haizhu, then they will still have some support. But now if you are in another position, this is not a good thing for them. So, isn't this Flame Cemetery located in the eastern part of Nanzan Haizhu? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. Good. Actually, if you really want to talk about it, the Flame Cemetery should be regarded as the boundary of Zhongzhou. Mr. Chen thought for a while and said, it's just that the people in Zhongzhou thought this place was unlucky, so they divided it. Unexpectedly, this place became the largest resource blessing land in the outside area. Hear this. Xiao Xian was also secretly surprised. A place that Zhongzhou doesn't want, placed in an external area, will actually become the most important resource blessed land. It can be seen how rich Zhongzhou's resources are. Amazing. So, in Zhongzhou, there will be many places like the Flame Cemetery. Xiao Xian couldn't help but said in surprise, it's really unbelievable. Regarding this question, Mr. Chen also nodded, which was regarded as acquiescence. On the other hand, Bai Ling on the other side still had a bit of suspicion and curiosity on her face after hearing this. She could feel that what Mr. Chen said was true. However, what she is even more curious about is that if Zhongzhou really has so many blessed land resources, doesn't it mean that the cultivation speed of Zhongzhou cultivators is much faster than that of their outside areas? After such a long time, won't Zhongzhou's strength become stronger and stronger? In addition, over the years, outstanding disciples from outside areas have been squeezing their heads towards Zhongzhou. Doesn't this continuously enhance Zhongzhou's strength? If this is the case, what future will they have in the outside world? Thinking of this, Bai Ling couldn't help but feel a little worried. What's the matter, little girl? It seems like your mood is not high. Seeing Bai Ling's look, Mr. Chen also continued to ask, are you a little worried about Zhongzhou? Bai Ling nodded and said, yes. Zhongzhou is indeed rich in resources, and their cultivator disciples will also be more talented. Mr. Chen nodded, however, they are not without shortcomings. Weaknesses, Xiao Xian was a little curious. That's because they lack experience. Mr. Chen explained, these disciples who grew up in a honeypot may rarely encounter trouble in their lives. What they lack is perseverance and perseverance. In this regard, they are incomparable with disciples from outside areas. That's true. If the disciples of Zhongzhou don't have the perseverance to fight, then no matter how high their realm is and how strong they are, they probably won't have much fighting power in the end. Xiao Xian also nodded. This was the first time in such a long time that he heard about the weaknesses of Zhongzhou disciples. This is hardly good news. However, people in Zhongzhou are not fools. They realized this very early on, so they held so many youth conferences. On the one hand, they wanted to recruit outstanding external disciples, on the other hand, they also hoped to use external disciples as Zhongzhou disciples. Experience. Mr. Chen said, although it sounds unpleasant to say, this is also the reason why Zhongzhou holds a youth conference. Say it. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also had frozen faces. Speaking of which, they spent so much effort and participated in the youth conference because they wanted to enter Zhongzhou and improve their realm to a higher level. But who knew that all their hard work was all Zhongzhou's plan? This sounds a bit unacceptable. It's hard to accept, isn't it? However, this is the gap between your external disciples and Zhongzhou disciples. If you don't accept it, there is nothing you can do about it. Mr. Chen said directly, if you want to change all this, perhaps the easiest way is to improve your own strength and achieve more Dragon God realm or even, Holy Realm externally. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1193. Holy Land. Hear these words. Bai Ling and Xiao Xian looked at each other, their faces becoming more solemn at the same time. They can know that Mr. Chen did not exaggerate when he said this, but it was what he thought in his heart. I really want to talk about it. In Nanzan Hai's Hu, if they want to become stronger, there may be only one way to go. Although this road must be difficult and dangerous, they should try to challenge it no matter what. If you want to defeat your enemy, you must first understand your enemy. With our current strength in the external region, trying to defeat the disciples of Zhongzhou is tantamount to wishful thinking. Xiao Xian looked serious, so, what we have to do is to improve our strength as quickly as possible, reach the Dragon God realm as early as possible, and maybe have some say in this continent. After saying this, Mr. Chen and Bai Ling nodded repeatedly. They all know that there is nothing wrong with what Xiao Xian said. If you really want to say it, it is indeed the only way to make what they want to do come true. However, there is no need for you to be so anxious. With your current situation, if you want to reach the strength of your dreams, it may still take a long way to go. Elder Chen comforted him, but speaking of it, your current strength and talent can be considered the best among the disciples of your generation. One day in the future, you may become the master of one party. Having said this, Mr. Chen also looked at Xiao Xian and Bai Ling with satisfaction. Speaking of which, every time he looked at Xiao Xian, he always had an inexplicable feeling of trust. He always felt that one day in the future, Xiao Xian might really become a great person. You know, Mr. Chen is from Zhongzhou. His vision is so high that he hardly pays attention to ordinary talented disciples. Even in the entire White Flame Valley, except for Bai Ling who possesses the ancient flame holy body, he hardly takes anyone in his eyes. Inside. But for some reason, every time he saw Xiao Xian, he could feel that perhaps this person's future was immeasurable. It was very likely that Xiao Xian would be the person who would stand at the top of the world in the future. Figure this out. Along the way, Mr. Chen also became a little closer to Xiao Xian. Riding in the carriage, Xiao Xian not only felt that he did see various powerful men of the sect on the road. There are outer sect cultivators who are shirtless and muscular, there are soul cultivators whose bodies are so tightly wrapped that only their eyes are exposed, and there are female sword cultivators from the sect whose entire sect is filled with beauties. What interests Xiao Xian the most is he is also a sect disciple whose body is covered with tattoos depicting dragons and phoenixes. When fighting, he can actually summon the tattooed monsters on his body, which looks like a beast-controlling sect or a divine soul sect, which is an eye-opener for him. But at the same time, he was also found among other sects in the outer areas, and his strength was no less than that of the sects in the east. At least, Xiao Xian still feels some pressure when facing them. It should take a few days to reach the tomb spirit section. In the past few days, you should concentrate on your cultivation, and you don't have to worry about other things. Mr. Chen said to the two of them. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling looked at each other, their faces a little more serious. They also knew that so many sects they encountered along the way might become their enemies in the future. And if there is not enough strength, even with the help of Mr. Chen and the help of the Tomb Spirit sect, it would be difficult to get anything in a place like the Flame Cemetery. So, at this moment, swallow that drop of blood essence of the divine beast. A trace of seriousness flashed on Xiao Xian's face. Unexpectedly, the system can actually help with this. Previously, he also understood the power of devouring from his own chaos avenue, so he took it upon himself to ask Xiao Lu for the essence and blood of the divine beast, hoping to use the energy in the essence and blood to enhance his own strength. What is pain? Xiao Xian didn't care. I have been practicing for so long. If I can't bear even a little pain, how can I climb to a higher level? Brother system. If you can have such a mentality, this system believes in the host, and you will definitely be able to make further progress in the realm. If you can use the essence and blood of the divine beast to increase your strength to the peak of the blue god realm, this is already a great thing. This is a very good thing. Thank you, Mr. System, for reminding me, Xiao Xian said. In that case, I will use this divine beast's essence and blood to raise my realm to the peak of the blue god realm. Thinking of this, he took out a jade bottle from the space magic weapon. What was contained in it was a drop of Xiao Lu's blood essence. But now that he has been recognized by the system, his confidence has become stronger, and he directly said, if this is true, doesn't it mean that I can reach the little golden god realm with the help of blood essence? In fact, after he obtained those 7th grade demonic beast essences from the 10,000 Beasts Tower, he also thought about finding an opportunity to advance the Sirius sword, but there was never a suitable opportunity. Yes, the system replied, although this system cannot help you in your realm, this system can also help you with another thing. After saying this, Xiao Xian felt relieved. He knows very well that the system is still very authoritative. Normally, the system will not remind him casually unless it encounters something very important. However, if you really want to talk about it, ordinary people may not be able to maintain their true intentions under the temptation of realm. Real. That's really nice. But now it's obvious that the system seems to have sensed something, and it actually proactively reminded him. System prompt: devouring blood essence can indeed improve your strength, but it still requires you to experience pain for a period of time. Now, after hearing these words, what's the matter? Xiao Xian was a little surprised. Help you improve the level of the Sirius sword, the system said. The Sirius sword is an item given to you by the system, so the system is naturally obliged to help you improve its level. But he was a little unsure whether this method could succeed. Yes. Xiao Xian cupped his hands. As a cultivator, he naturally knows that there is nothing wrong with this sentence. Xiao Xian was delighted. The system said, you must not make any rash advances in the way of cultivation. You must remember this. Xiao Xian was also quite wary. Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask, if I can rely on this drop of blood essence to enhance my strength to the little golden god realm, that would be great. Are you telling the truth about this? It's a little difficult. Good. The system said. Swallowing the essence and blood of mythical beasts can really increase my strength quickly. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1194. I didn't expect that the system master would help me. It's really great, Xiao Xian thanked him quickly. But there is no need to say so. These days, this system has been of limited help to you. Maybe it should help you with some things. Besides, you are going to a dangerous place like the Flame Cemetery, so you may still need some strength. The system said. After hearing these words, Xiao Xian's face also changed slightly, and he was somewhat curious in his heart. The system existed in his body. It was not surprising to know that he wanted to go to the Flame Cemetery, but it was a bit strange that the system knew that the Flame Cemetery was a dangerous place. Could it be that the system also has some understanding of the Flame Cemetery? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel a little curious on his face, and said directly, "Brother System, what do you mean? Do you also know about this Flame Cemetery?" "Of course, this system knows everything about Daedao continent." The system's voice seemed to have some pride in it. "In that case, old man, can you tell me some secrets about Dao continent? This way my strength can be improved faster, right?" Xiao Xian's face showed excitement. After Mr. Chen's introduction to the Flame Cemetery, he also learned a little bit about the great Dao continent. There are indeed some caves and paradises that ordinary people don't know about. Just now, he really doesn't know that much about this aspect. If the system can give him some lists of cave heaven paradise, then his strength will naturally be greatly improved. Most of the cave heaven blessed lands in Nanzhan who known to the system are within Zhongzhou. If the host wants to enter, he must at least enter Zhongzhou, the system said. Fine. Then when I enter Zhongzhou, don't forget this matter. Xiao Xian was a little helpless, but when he thought about it, he came up with an unusual question. Logically speaking, he did not get the system on the great Dao continent. Even if the system helps him, it seems like it shouldn't know so many things. But now, judging from the meaning of the system, it seems that he also knows more information about Nanzhan Hu. Is this a bit strange? Could it be that the system is inherently omnipotent? Or is it that the system originally came from Daedao continent? For Xiao Xian, he hopes that the system is omnipotent. In this way, he can also get more benefits with the help of the system to improve his strength. Just now, after seeing this situation, he couldn't be sure what was going on with the system, so he simply asked in an insinuating way, "Brother System? So according to what you mean, do you really know everything?" "Almost," the system said. "What?" Xiao Xian was stunned. "Is what you said really like this? Is there any problem?" The system didn't seem to care much. "No problem, no problem. This is indeed an amazing thing." Xiao Xian's face suddenly became a little more curious, and he said directly, "I didn't expect that there would be such a statement. So, you, the old man, feel a bit invincible on the Dao continent." What he said was also more modest. In fact, if the system really has such a big effect, he can rely on the system to be invincible. So be it. However, whether you can rely on the power of the system to become invincible depends on yourself. The system said. Say it. Xiao Xian really became interested. After all, according to normal principles, with the help of such a powerful system, it is almost natural for him to become invincible. Why is the system still a little worried now? Is this true or false? After all, according to normal principles, with a system of this level, it is almost a matter of time before Xiao Xian becomes invincible. Brother System, don't be so pretentious, old man. If you have anything to say, please tell me immediately. Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask, how can I get your so-called strength? Speaking of which, I have been following you for a day or two. Don't you still understand my strength? As long as I can change, I am willing to try any strong means. He didn't just say this. Since coming to Daedao continent, Xiao Xian's mentality has also undergone some subtle changes. The pride from before has also become calmer. He also roughly knows what it means that there is heaven outside the sky and there are people outside the world. After all, if you really want to talk about it, there are so many powerful people on the Dao continent. Maybe others don't care much, but most people can see that it is not that simple to obtain these powers. What do you want to do? Is it necessary to rely on the essence and blood of the divine beast to force a breakthrough? The system couldn't help but ask, Do you know that even if you are at the peak of the Blue God realm, the physical fitness required by the sixth star of the Blue God realm is not at the same level? If you don't have a strong enough body, you will not be able to bear these powers. It's possible if you try. Xiao Xian smiled. Brother system, don't worry. Since I have chosen this path of cultivation, I naturally have to learn to overcome all kinds of dangers. Really? The system questioned Xiao Xian for the first time. Yes, maybe for me, the Flame Cemetery is the last opportunity to improve my strength before the youth conference, Xiao Xian said with a serious face. Perhaps only by entering Zhongzhou can I have the opportunity to truly come into contact with the true core of this continent. So, the host has been determined to devour the essence and blood of the mythical beast. The system seemed to feel a little incredible. In this case, this system can provide some help. Oh, Xiao Xian was a little surprised. Congratulations to the host for receiving a fine dragon body pill, the system's voice sounded, and at the same time, Xiao Xian had a round red pill in his hand. Excellent dragon body pill. Xiao Xian was very surprised. He has seen the effects of dragon body pill before. At that time, when he was in the spiritual realm, the reason why he did not fall behind when fighting against many opponents was because of his body strengthened by the dragon body pill. However, after reaching the Blue God realm, he found that the ordinary dragon body pills were extremely limited in strengthening his body. Such a strengthened body could no longer support him in fighting against higher level experts. But he didn't expect that the system would give him another surprise today. Gave him a fine dragon body pill? Although he doesn't quite know how useful this fine dragon body pill is, he can be sure that it will be of great benefit to his body. Figure this out. Xiao Xian also had a look of curiosity on his face. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1195. Brother System. I can understand that the things you gave me must be very good, but, I'm a little curious, how strong can my body be strengthened with this exquisite dragon body pill? Xiao Xian was really a little curious. From the literal point of view, he can roughly know that this exquisite dragon body pill must be much stronger than the ordinary dragon body pill. However, now he doesn't fully know how powerful it can be. It would be best if his body could be strengthened to the peak of Blue God realm, or even Little Golden God realm. Excellent dragon body pill. If the host can absorb all the medicinal power, it can completely strengthen the body to the true Golden God state. The system said. Even Xiao Xian was a little surprised when he said this. Before, he had also thought that if the high-quality dragon body pill provided by the system could make his physical fitness reach the peak of the Blue God realm, it would be a great thing. As for the powerful body of the Golden God realm, he could hardly imagine it. After all, after reaching the Golden God realm, a cultivator's body has almost reached the point of immortality. Rebirth with blood and the resurrection of a corpse are extremely common methods, and it is extremely difficult to cultivate a body of this level. Even ordinary Golden God realm cultivators would find it difficult to possess a true Golden God realm level body. Just rely on this. Xiao Xian was also very excited in his heart. He knew very well that if he could really refine the exquisite dragon body pill, then he would most likely have a Golden God realm body, which would definitely be of great help to him when he went to the Flame Cemetery. Help. It's just that now he's a little curious. How to use this exquisite dragon body pill? Could it be that it is as simple as just swallowing it directly? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but frown slightly. He could also roughly think of it. Since this exquisite dragon body pill can have such a good effect, I am afraid that its use should be different from ordinary pills. It's very simple. Just swallow it. The system's answer is straightforward. This made Xiao Xian a little unbelievable. You must know that the elixir that can directly transform a cultivator's body into a body at the level of the Golden God realm is definitely an elixir above the heaven level. Can an elixir of this level be swallowed casually like jelly beans? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but be a little suspicious. How? Don't you believe in the capabilities of this system? The system asked rhetorically. As an invincible system in all realms, this system can naturally provide powerful enough elixirs. Say it. Xiao Xian's face looked a little strange. Speaking of which, he has been bound to the system for a long time, but this is the first time he has seen the system speak to him in this tone, as if he is very confident about this matter. But with the ability of the system to be so powerful, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal to accomplish this. Seemingly being angered by Xiao Xian's questioning, the system also said directly, the host can try to swallow the high-quality dragon body pill directly, and then he will know the wonderful use of this system. Really? Xiao Xian asked tentatively. This is natural, this system is innocent. The system's voice was full of confidence. Good. Then I'll believe you just once. Xiao Xian nodded. He could feel that it was basically impossible for the system to deceive him. Since the system has said so, it is enough to prove that this exquisite dragon body pill is really outstanding. After thinking about this, Xiao Xian did not hesitate, opened his mouth and swallowed the dragon body pill in one gulp. For a moment, he felt as if there was a stream of heat dissolving directly in his body, and the thick and pure energy of the avenue bloomed in his meridians and body, making his body continue to strengthen. What's more important is that in this strong energy, there seems to be a bloodline of dragon blood from ancient times. The dragon bloodline has a strong talent for recovery, so it can be regarded as one of the more physically powerful ancient beasts. If an elixir or secret treasure of the dragon bloodline appears in an ordinary auction house, the price will definitely be high. Phase. As for now, Xiao Xian is willing to believe that this exquisite dragon body pill will definitely allow him to have the body of the golden god realm. In that case, thank you very much, Mr. System. After feeling this dragon blood, Xiao Xian's eyes also lit up, and he was very excited. At this time, he also believed the system's words. At that moment, he no longer hesitated, and directly used the power of the great Dao in his body, and began to desperately devour the dragon blood power in the dragon body pill, and then used this power to continuously strengthen his body. Blood, muscles, skin. Every part of Xiao Xian's body became stronger with the strengthening of dragon blood. Especially he felt that with the powerful recovery ability of the fine dragon body pill, the hidden injuries on his body were healed in an instant. All restored? This really surprised him. Speaking of which, from the Tianqian continent to the prehistoric continent, and now to the Dao continent, Xiao Xian encountered more than 10 million battles, was injured and extremely many times, and had countless hidden injuries on his body. Although some injuries were treated at the time. However, there are some accumulated hidden injuries that cannot be treated. Who knew that he would be able to heal these injuries with the help of the high-quality dragon body pill today? This was really beyond his expectation. This dragon body pill is really unusual, Xiao Xian couldn't help but exclaimed, it has such a powerful recovery effect, it is as good as the ancient beast Xiaolu. What is this? Speaking of which, if you practice hard, you will also get more resources one day in the future. Regarding Xiao Xian's question, the system said directly, besides, if the host enters Zhongzhou, it will naturally encounter more opportunities in the future. Strengthening like this is simply commonplace. Really? This is a bit incredible. Xiao Xian couldn't believe it. Speaking of which, he has encountered quite a few opportunities and secret treasures for such a long time, but there has never been an opportunity that has brought such a big shock to him like today. But according to the system, there will be more opportunities like this in Zhongzhou, which is south of Haizhu. This is a bit unbelievable. Could this be true? So how magical is the Zhongzhou area? How many strong people will there be? Are these strong men enemies or friends to him? The most important thing is, can he find the real secrets about this continent in Zhongzhou, which looks south to Haizhu? For a while, Xiao Xian couldn't help but become curious. After completely absorbing the power of the dragon body pill bloodline in his body became several times stronger. Wei Wei punched. He also seemed to vaguely feel that his fist seemed to have touched the spatial rules of this world, which surprised him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1196. What Xiao Xian knew was, on the Great Dao continent, the rules of space can only be understood by those who are truly powerful in the Golden God realm. Unexpectedly, after devouring the exquisite dragon body pill, he could actually understand space. This is truly an unexpected surprise. Not bad. As expected of the person favored by the system. A fine dragon body pill can be swallowed up completely. Even this system can't understand your talent. The system said to Xiao Xian. This time, Xiao Xian was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the system could evaluate him like this. This was something that rarely happened before. Brother system, are you making fun of me? Chu Yuan couldn't help but said, I remember that you don't always praise others. Indeed. However, host, your performance today is worthy of praise from this system. The system's tone is very calm. So, is this exquisite dragon body pill very difficult to absorb? Xiao Xian roughly guessed. Of course. The items given by the system are naturally the best of the best. Is it possible that the host thinks that this system will give ordinary items to you, the host? That's not true. Xiao Xian also nodded secretly. He also had to admit that the system had given him a lot of help over such a long period of time. Basically, anything given by the system is a good thing. But what he was even more curious about was, what benefits would it bring him after he swallowed this exquisite dragon body pill? Is it just the physical strength of the Golden God realm? Xiao Xian didn't believe this. With systematic habits, usually it is not a very precious good thing, and he will not take it out on his own initiative. Xiao Xian has a hunch that today's so-called fine dragon body pill is not as simple as it seems. Think of this. Xiao Xian also had a bit of suspicion on his face. In that case, I just want to see what benefits this thing has. The physical strength of the Golden God realm, isn't this benefit enough? The system asked. If only. I'm afraid, Mr. System, you won't praise me so much. Xiao Xian smiled, shook his head and said, so, the benefits of this exquisite dragon body pill are definitely not just the body of the Golden God realm, right? After saying this, the system seemed a little surprised. Finally, when facing Xiao Xian, the system also sighed with emotion. It seems that there are some things that can't deceive you after all. This dragon body pill can not only strengthen your body, but also has an important thing, that is magical power. Supernatural powers. You, old man, are saying that there are magical powers in this dragon body pill. Xiao Xian's expression changed instantly. This is not the first time he has heard of magical powers. It is said that this is a combat skill that only strong men above the dragon god realm can practice. Compared with Taoism, as soon as magical powers appear in the world, they will immediately destroy the world and change the power of space. Xiao Xian never expected that among the exquisite dragon body pills provided by the system, there would be magical powers. This is simply unbelievable. Incredible. There are actually magical powers in this dragon body pill? Brother system, are you kidding me? Xiao Xian couldn't believe it. After such a long time, he could roughly guess that these powers were not that simple. But let's talk about it. He really didn't believe it. Dragon blood destroys the world. Although it is only a low-level magical power of Suanpin, it is indeed a genuine magical power. When you reach the Dragon God realm, you can also practice this magical power. The system said, originally, this system planned to tell you when you reached the Dragon God realm. Unexpectedly, you were able to guess this, which surprised the system a bit. It's not really a guess. It can only be said to be some of my inferences. Xiao Xian said directly, according to your old man's habit, if it is not a particularly important resource, it seems that you will never emphasize it deliberately. Now that you attach so much importance to this exquisite dragon body pill, I can naturally guess some problems. Regarding Xiao Xian's explanation, the system seemed a little surprised, but it also said, however, although the magical power of dragon blood to destroy the world is powerful, with the current strength of the host, it cannot be directly practiced. The host still needs to seize the time to increase its strength. Hear these words. Xiao Xian felt helpless in his heart. He knew that what the system said was an indisputable fact. Although magical powers were powerful, not everyone could practice them. Just like now, Xiao Xian's strength was only at the Kengshen realm. Even if he got such a level, the treasure has no ability to use it. From this point of view, he really needs to seize the time and improve his strength as soon as possible. Master System. From the Blue God realm to the Dragon God realm, not only is the speed of cultivation very slow, but it seems that you will also encounter a lot of troubles. Doesn't Master System have some way to quickly improve your strength? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. In fact, he has asked many similar questions to the system for such a long time, but in the end, basically there was no result. According to the system, cultivation needs to be done step by step, and one cannot always think of reaching the sky in one step. If you put it in normal times. Xiao Xian also agrees with this statement, and will honestly focus on his cultivation, step by step, and slowly make progress. But now, we are about to enter a place like the Flame Cemetery. Even Xiao Xian himself cannot guarantee what kind of danger he will encounter in such a place. Therefore, he couldn't help but be a little worried. What is the host worried about? The system asked as if it understood Xiao Xian's inner thoughts very well. You still know how dangerous the Flame Cemetery is. If I say, with my strength, entering it, wouldn't it be a bit dangerous? Xiao Xian frowned slightly. He has indeed experienced a lot of dangers all along. But if you really want to say it, he can always save the day in the end, but in addition to luck, the more important thing is that Xiao Xian has enough strength. Nowadays, treasures of the level of the green flame staff appear in the flame purpose. In the golden god realm, even the strong men in the dragon god realm coveted it, so Xiao Xian had to consider the degree of danger involved. With his current strength, if he faced a strong man at the level of the golden god, he might have a chance to escape by relying on the secret method of chaos, but if he met a strong man at the dragon god realm, he wouldn't even have a chance to escape. Although he also has strong men like dragon god realm like Mr. Chen to help him. However, the Flame Cemetery is a mixed bag, with all kinds of people there. Who knows what kind of danger they will face by then? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1197. Present. Xiao Xian also expressed all his worries to the system. But after hearing these words, the system didn't seem to care, and instead let out a playful laugh, as if it didn't take Xiao Xian's words to heart. At this time, Xiao Xian was a little stunned. He was a little confused and couldn't figure out why the system reacted like this. Could it be that the system thinks that none of his worries are worth worrying about? Isn't this a bit strange? After all, for cultivators, the gap between Dragon God Realm and Blue God Realm is clearly in front of them. From the perspective of the system, Can such a huge gap in realms be ignored? Think of this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel a little suspicious. Don't the host have the confidence to get the green flame staff in the flame cemetery? The system did not answer Xiao Xian's question, but instead asked him a new question. This. I really haven't thought about this kind of thing. Xiao Xian couldn't help but be stunned. This green flame staff is a treasure passed down from ancient times. It is said to be the legacy of an ancient saint. How can I get such a treasure? That's it, the system didn't seem satisfied with this answer. In addition, this blue flame staff is a flame-based treasure, which may be more important to Bai Ling. Therefore, the most I can do is fight for Bai Ling. Xiao Xian hesitated and said, perhaps, it is more important. Maybe it's still about the inheritance of those ancient saints. That's right, the system nodded with satisfaction, as if this was the answer it wanted. In the flame cemetery, there are indeed some magical tools and magical weapons of the ancient saints remaining, and there are even some magical powers, but they are really precious. They are the inheritance of the ancient saints. If you can obtain some of these inheritances, it will be easy to enter the dragon god realm. Ah! Is what your old man said true? Xiao Xian couldn't believe it. You know, in the eyes of ordinary people, being able to reach the dragon god realm is already a great thing. But from the tone of the system, it seems that the dragon god realm is nothing special. Isn't this a bit strange? Is it possible that in the eyes of the system, dragon god realm is nothing? Figure this out. Xiao Xian also showed a look of shock on his face. He was still a little suspicious. He didn't expect that the system was so awesome. Could it be that it didn't even take the dragon god realm powerhouses seriously? Is it possible that the system itself is a saint-level powerhouse? Think of this. There was a bit of shock on his face. Before, he had speculated about the identity of the system, thinking that the system should be a powerful person in the Dao continent. But I never thought that the system might be powerful above the dragon god realm. This was actually a bit beyond his expectation. Isn't this possible? Speaking of which, do you, old man, don't even care about strong men at the level of the dragon god? Xiao Xian was a little incredible. The problem he felt was that if the system didn't even pay attention to the strong ones in the dragon god realm, wouldn't it mean that the system's previous strength had already reached the holy realm? Isn't this a bit outrageous? Based on the previous situation. Apart from having some understanding of Dao continent, the system has never shown its own strength. Could it be said that Lord System himself is a saint with top strength? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but take a breath of air. More importantly, he could feel it at this time. When the system said this, there seemed to be some contempt. It seemed that he didn't pay attention to the powerful people at the dragon god realm level at all. This is really something that Xiao Xian could not have imagined. Dragon god realm, maybe, can only be regarded as some kind of basic realm. There was a chuckle in the system's voice. This. What do you mean, old man? The dragon god realm is not a great realm in your opinion? Xiao Xian couldn't believe it. What surprised him was that the system did not answer this answer, as if it was not a question at all. He was also surprised by this. All right. You, old man, are quite mysterious now. Xiao Xian was a little helpless. Before, he could roughly understand that according to the system's urine properties, the system's strength must not be weak. However, he has never had the opportunity to ask directly how strong the system is, what state it has reached, and whether it can directly help him. Later, after he came to Nanzan Haizhu, he also encountered all kinds of troubles and dangers. He doesn't have much time to pay attention to the system's realm strength. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian simply didn't bother to talk to the system and directly left the dialogue illusion created by the system. Open your eyes again. Xiao Xian found that Mr. Chen and Bai Ling were in front of him, looking at him nervously, as if they saw some monster. Regarding this, he also had some doubts on his face. What's wrong? Why are you two so mysterious? Xiao Xian couldn't help but opened his mouth and asked. Hearing Xiao Xian speak, Mr. Chen and Bai Lingke breathed a sigh of relief and left his presence. We thought you had gone crazy just now. Bai Ling patted his flat chest and breathed a sigh of relief. You suddenly started talking to yourself just now, and your breath began to become disordered. Is it? I feel pretty good myself, don't I? Xiao Xian was stunned. He just swallowed the high-quality dragon body pill given by the system, and his physical fitness has been greatly improved. He can feel that after the strengthening of the high-quality dragon body pill, there is a vague dragon power in the blood of his body. Even Xiao Lu seemed to be aware of this change. If his prediction was correct, there should be dragon blood in the fine dragon body pill that changed his body constitution. Therefore, such a gratifying change would occur in his body. As for the reactions of Bai Ling and Chen Lao, most likely they felt the violent surge produced when the human blood and dragon blood in Xiao Xian's body merged with each other, so they misunderstood that he was possessed. No matter what. Master Xiao Xian, I hope you are safe and sound. Bai Ling couldn't help but persuade, Master Xiao Xian, although there are many treasures in this trip to the Flame Cemetery, you don't need to encourage others on the path of cultivation, otherwise, you will harm yourself. Thank you very much. Xiao Xian was stunned. He also looked at Bai Ling a little surprised. Speaking of which, ever since the little girl Bai Ling awakened the ancient flame body in her body, her personality has also become cold. Except for him and Mr. Chen, she is cold to everyone. Even when facing the two of them, they rarely take the initiative to say these words of comfort. What is it today? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1198. Bai Ling. Are you, okay? Faced with Bai Ling's sudden concern, Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask, why did you suddenly start caring about me today? You were so cold a few days ago. Originally, Xiao Xian just said it as a joke. But who knew that after hearing these words, Bai Ling's face suddenly turned red, and then secretly turned away. This time, Xiao Xian, a straight man, was even more confused. What's the situation? Bai Ling's current behavior seems a little off, doesn't it? Cough cough cough. You guy, this little girl is sincere to you, do you really not understand, or are you just pretending to be stupid here? In the end, Mr. Chen couldn't help it any longer and said, Miss Bai Ling is good looking, has a good sect, and is gifted with the rare ancient flame holy body. Why don't you enjoy it secretly that she can like you? Say it. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were even more embarrassed. Xiao Xian can actually feel it roughly. Bai Ling has always been kind to him. Whether in White Flame Valley or 10,000 Beast Tower. For him, she even did not hesitate to fight against powerful opponents like Lin Mang and his son. This alone showed her intentions. But it's been so long. Xiao Xian never expressed anything, which even made Mr. Chen a little anxious. Mr. Chen, why are you talking nonsense? Bai Ling's face turned red and she said coquettishly. Ha ha ha. What? Are you embarrassed yet? Girl, when you are young, if you have someone you like, you have to be brave enough to say it. Otherwise, it will be too late to regret it when you are old. Mr. Chen looked like he was just watching the fun and not afraid of the big deal. In response to this, Bai Ling's face turned red, and then he said leisurely, some people just pretend not to know and make people angry. What can they do? You, Bai Ling, I. Xiao Xian was speechless for a moment. You don't have to explain, however. Before Xiao Xian could say anything more, Bai Ling said directly, some things can be kept in mind. It's useless to talk about it. This trip to the Flame Cemetery is extremely dangerous, So we'd better keep more information in mind, just focus more on this. Good. Xiao Xian was a little embarrassed. In fact, what Bai Ling said just now is exactly what Xiao Xian wanted to say. In a place like the Flame Cemetery, there are dangers everywhere, and they really shouldn't think too much about it. All right. I won't tease you anymore. The Tomb Spirit sect is ahead. My old friend Tomb Spirit Master is inside. He is a strong man in the Dragon God realm of the Soul System. When you see him later, be careful to protect your soul. Mr. Chen said seriously. After hearing this, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also looked serious. Although he has not yet seen anyone who is a strong man in the Dragon God realm who cultivates the divine soul, Xiao Xian can roughly guess that the strength of this Tomb Spirit Master must be extraordinary. For ordinary practitioners, when practicing together, in order to be more stable, they will choose the method of cultivating the soul and Tao power together. This can greatly increase the speed of practice. As for soul cultivators, in the world of cultivation, it is definitely a path chosen by a very small number of people. There is no other reason. It is because the cultivation of the soul is extremely difficult. Ordinary people simply don't have the ability or the courage to choose to practice the divine soul. And the real tomb spirit in the old man's mouth has actually relied on the power of his soul to cultivate himself to the Dragon God realm. With this alone, he is definitely not something that the average Dragon God realm can fight against. And the spiritual realm of this tomb spirit real person, I'm afraid that it has gone far beyond the real realm, to the divine realm, and possibly even to the legendary holy realm. Think of this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but become a little curious. In fact, Xiao Xian has always been good at Dao Dao, and he is more confident in his soul realm. Now I have the opportunity to come into contact with such a level of soul cultivator. He really wanted to know how powerful this legendary divine soul was. Think of this. He couldn't help but ask Mr. Chen, Mr. Chen, may I ask what level the spirit realm of this tomb spirit master has reached? Has he already touched the legendary divine realm? Or even the holy realm? Do you still know about the divine soul? No wonder, you are able to temper your soul so perfectly at such a young age. It turns out there is a reason. After hearing what Xiao Xian said, Mr. Chen also nodded, but speaking of it, I haven't left Zhongzhou in nearly 100 years, and I haven't seen the real tomb spirit. I really don't know much about his current state. We haven't seen each other for nearly 100 years. Xiao Xian felt a little guilty. Does he know? There is no such thing as true friendship. We haven't seen each other for nearly 100 years. Under such circumstances, it is really difficult to guarantee that this tomb spirit master can still maintain friendship with Mr. Chen, right? What's more, Mr. Chen was previously a figure in Zhongzhou Tianli sect. It is easy to understand that Master Tomb Spirit has friendship with him. However, it is different now. Mr. Chen is a person who was expelled from a large sect in Zhongzhou. Could it be that the Tomb Spirit Master could still show his heart to him? This is not Xiao Xian's villainy, but he has encountered too many similar situations before. So for a while, Xiao Xian didn't know whether to believe Mr. Chen or not. How? Looking at you, you are worried about Master Tomb Spirit's attitude towards me, right? Mr. Chen is a veteran after all. At this time, it was natural to see what Xiao Xian was thinking at a glance. Xiao Xian felt a little embarrassed because his thoughts were seen through. In fact, although he had doubts about this in his heart, he also knew that it was not easy to say this directly in front of Mr. Chen. Otherwise, Mr. Chen's face would not look good. But now, Mr. Chen took the initiative to speak out, and he didn't know how to deal with it. Look, what is this? Mr. Chen didn't say anything else, he just took out a piece of shiny translucent jade. From the top of the jade piece, Xiao Xian saw a portrait of a white-haired old man. In the portrait, the character was vivid and lifelike, and even moved from time to time, as if a real person was in it. If you don't see it with your own eyes. He couldn't even believe that this was a treasure and not a real person inside. This is the jade of life. It's unbelievable. Could it be that this is the life jade of the tomb spirit master? Bai Ling recognized it at a glance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1199. Is this the life jade? Hearing this, Xiao Xian was also a little surprised. Once upon a time, he had heard the legend about the life jade. It was said that this was a kind of jade that could control other people's lives. Once a practitioner encounters an accident, his closest relatives can use the life spirit jade to bring him back to life. Therefore, generally, the life jade will be owned by close relatives. Now, the life jade of Master Tomb Spirit is on Mr. Chen, which is enough to prove the trust of Master Tomb Spirit in Mr. Chen. How about it? I think some people should cherish my friendship. Mr. Chen said with a smile, anyway, I can be regarded as a person who once had some ability. The old man Tomb Spirit Master still respects me. You have a villain's heart. Xiao Xian was a little embarrassed. It doesn't need to be said. The world is changing and people are unpredictable. This is a matter of course. Mr. Chen also waved his hand to indicate that he didn't care. However, the Tomb Spirit Master is always mysterious, so it's me. He has a different face every time I see him, he never shows his true face. You should pay attention to distinguishing him later. Different faces. That is why Bai Ling didn't understand. Generally speaking, when a cultivator reaches the Dragon God realm, he or she can at least be considered a powerful person who rules a party. Why can't he see others with his true face? Could it be said that this real tomb spirit is extremely ugly? Is that why you don't want to see people? This is also his physical condition. The divine soul technique he practiced has devoured the souls of too many strong men. Therefore, although his soul power is powerful, it will inevitably be affected. Mr. Chen explained, therefore, the tomb spirit master sometimes falls into a state of madness. What? This? At this time, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were both a little stunned and looked at Mr. Chen in disbelief. You must know that this real tomb spirit is a strong man at the level of Dragon God. When a strong man of this level goes crazy, the consequences will be devastating. It is definitely not something that ordinary people can bear. At the very least, Xiao Xian, the pinnacle of the Kang God realm, and Bai Ling, the little golden God realm, must be unable to contend with such danger. Figure this out. There was some solemnity on their faces, and they couldn't help but focus on Mr. Chen again, wanting to hear how he explained this matter. Mr. Chen, a spiritual cultivator at the Dragon God realm, if he goes crazy, the two of us, would be a little unbearable, Xiao Xian said awkwardly, don't you, old man, know our strength? Don't worry. Although Master Tomb Spirit likes to go crazy, he doesn't go crazy casually. Moreover, since I have come to the Flame Cemetery this time, I will also find a way to treat him. Mr. Chen said. After hearing these words, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling couldn't help but look at each other, with a bit of curiosity on their faces. Before, they only knew that Mr. Chen was not weak. But it seems that I have never thought that Mr. Chen can actually heal others. This was indeed a bit beyond their expectations. Mr. Chen. Why do I feel that your old man came here this time just to treat him? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. Hearing this, Mr. Chen scratched the back of his head in embarrassment and said, you can't say that. Some of them are still helping your cemetery. Mr. Chen said this. Bai Ling's little mouth on one side suddenly pouted. At first, She thought that Mr. Chen traveled all the way from White Flame Valley to Flame Cemetery just to help them seize the green flame staff. But now it seems that this is not the case. This can't help but make Xiao Xian a little confused. What is the magical place in the Flame Cemetery? Why is the flame so strong? Xiao Xian couldn't help but become suspicious. There were also beads of sweat on Mr. Chen's forehead. Logically speaking, at their level, ordinary flames will not harm their bodies, but looking at their appearance now, could it be said that the flames in this flame cemetery are different from other places? According to the previous situation, the flame cemetery is indeed a mysterious place. At least, the fact that so many ancient powerful people are willing to use this place as their burial ground is enough to prove that this place is unusual. Hearing this, Mr. Chen on the side also sighed, agreeing with his statement. Although Bai Ling is an ancient flame saint, he grew up in a place like the flame cemetery. Now facing such flames, I feel unbearable. So hot. Mr. Chen, why is this place so hot? Little girl, don't listen to this kid's nonsense. He, Xiao Xian smirked. He did not expect that as a strong man at the level of Dragon God, Mr. Chen would be afraid of a little girl. Under the scorching heat, the three of them were sweating profusely, which really surprised Xiao Xian. The carriage went all the way. Think of this. The purpose of my coming here this time is naturally to help you. That's pretty much it. Bai Ling then flattened his lips and forgave Mr. Chen. Just now. But now, they all look unbearable. That's the magic of the cemetery of fire. But you, the old man, said it yourself, the purpose is to cure the grave spirit master, you can't rely on me for this matter. Xiao Xian couldn't help but said. Mr. Chen also quickly explained, besides, there are some things that you can rest assured of. I will definitely try my best to help you seize the green flame staff. So magical, Xiao Xian was a little curious, could it be that this flame is the legendary holy object? The purpose of Mr. Chen coming here seems to be to rescue his friend, the tomb spirit master? How can you rely on me? Xiao Xian was a little curious. Not to mention, Chen Lao is a real dragon god realm powerhouse, and Bai Ling is a genuine ancient flame holy body. Their tolerance to flames should be extremely strong. Seeing Bai Ling, he was a little angry. It is said that in the center of the flame cemetery, there is a flame that has been burning for tens of thousands of years. The temperature at the center of this flame can reach thousands of degrees. Even if a strong dragon god realm enters, it will vaporize instantly. You kid, if you talk nonsense again, I'll see if I don't slap you, Chen said aggressively. After all, this was his first time seeing such a hot place. Soon, Xiao Xian and the other three also entered the flame cemetery. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1200. Probably. After all, only ancient holy objects can burn the remains of those ancient powerful men. Mr. Chen recognized Xiao Xian's point of view. After hearing these words, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also nodded secretly. But at the same time, they also felt a little more solemn in their hearts. If this flame could even burn the bones of ancient powerful men, then wouldn't it be a piece of cake to burn them? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian's face became a little more solemn. In this case, the most magical place in this flame cemetery should be the flame that never goes out. Xiao Xian became somewhat interested. Hearing this, Mr. Chen and Bai Ling on the side looked at Xiao Xian fearfully. Boy, don't mess around. I know you like to challenge new things, but ancient holy objects of this level are not something that ordinary people can covet. Mr. Chen reminded. Of course, but, I don't seem to be an ordinary person, right? Xiao Xian said with a smile. Although you have good talent, your current strength is indeed too weak. Mr. Chen pondered for a moment and said, with your current strength, let alone swallowing it. Even if you get close to the holy fire, you will be burned into nothingness. For these words, Xiao Xian naturally listened. He is not stupid, and he understands the current situation very well. With his current strength, it seems a bit impossible to get close to this flame. However, this is also proved. This flame must be of great benefit to his improvement in strength, and may even become his biggest reliance on improving his strength one day in the future. The way of chaos he practiced was all-encompassing and devouring everything. The more powerful the existence he devours, the greater his strength will be improved. This is why he cares so much about this thing now. Now, let's go directly to Tomb Spirit section. After entering the Flame Cemetery, Mr. Chen obviously became more serious. Even though you have entered the Flame Cemetery, you must be careful when you act later. In the Flame Cemetery, there are countless powerful men of various sections. Some seemingly inconspicuous beggars and lackeys on the roadside may be powerful people in the Dragon God realm, so you must be careful. Yes. Yes. Xiao Xian and Bai Ling looked at each other, their faces becoming more solemn. Before, they had also heard some sinister rumors about the Flame Cemetery. Because secret treasures frequently appeared in this place, strong men from all walks of life came to compete for them. Some people may even be long-established strong men in external regions. These people went out in person and competed with the younger generations for treasures, which was somewhat embarrassing in terms of face. Under such circumstances, these people are also unwilling to reveal their identity in front of others. This is also a routine commonly used by treasure hunters, and Xiao Xian has seen it a lot. Tomb Spirit section. Is it also this hot? Facing Mr. Chen, Bai Ling couldn't help but ask, if this is true, are the people in this sect suffering too much? In the Cemetery of Fire, there is a precious resource called Xianbing. This kind of resource can reduce the temperature of places within a certain range, but there is a certain time limit. Some of the major sects in the Flame Cemetery will choose the substance to ensure the coolness in the section. Tomb Spirit sect should also have it. When you get to their sect, you will feel it. Mr. Chen said. While he was talking, the carriage suddenly stopped. Are we here? Mr. Chen seemed a little strange. Did you leave so fast today? But for this question, the driver in front did not answer him. He opened the curtain and a strong smell of blood suddenly floated in. Smell the blood. The faces of Xiao Xian and the other two people also became tense instantly. They didn't encounter any trouble along the way, but unexpectedly, there were still plenty of troubles to come. The three of them got out of the carriage. Sure enough, they saw that a dozen burly men were blocking them in front of them. The leading bald man had a bloody knife in his hand, and the carriage driver was lying on the ground with blood flowing across it. Apparently he was the one who killed the carriage driver. Hey hey hey! Look at how many of them are from outside areas. The bald man turned his head and showed a bright smile. In that case, let's leave 3 million Tau stones behind for the three of us. 3 million. Are you going too far? Bai Ling was a little annoyed. Besides, since you are seeking money, why did you kill our coachman? Hearing this delicate scolding, the bald men looked at each other and laughed at the same time. Ha 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 ha. It seems that this little beauty is still a baby. In the Flame Cemetery, you will die or I will live. We, the Fire Wolf group, will kill whoever we want. Why do you feel sorry for this mistress, the coachman? Why don't you spend the night with your brothers, and they will find you a new mistress? Ha ha ha. 1. Look at this innocent eldest lady, she still cares so much for the coachman. She is such a kind person. In this case, how about letting the brothers love and care for you in bed? The rebuke to Bai Ling. These strong men obviously didn't pay attention at all, but instead said a lot of dirty words. Regarding this, Bai Ling also turned pale with anger. A white flame flew out and hit the bald man directly. but who knew that the bald man's reaction was not slow at all. Before the flames could touch him, he jumped back and dodged it perfectly. White flames hit an unlucky guy behind him. The unlucky man's body was on fire in an instant, and he was lying on the ground rolling while screaming. The bald man didn't react at all to what happened to his men. He just looked at Bai Ling coldly and said, "Little girl, I originally planned to take you back and make you the wife of the village, but now, I have changed my mind and want to take you back. You play it again for all the brothers. Then it depends on whether you have this ability." Bai Ling's face was stern. "Good. Then take a look." After the bald man finished speaking, he suddenly roared, and a layer of black down instantly grew on his body, his eyes turned red, and his mouth stretched out, revealing the dense white teeth inside. The whole person turned into a half-werewolf in an instant. This surprised everyone present. Even Xiao Xian couldn't help but frown. He originally thought that with Bai Ling taking action, it wouldn't be a problem to take down the lowest level road-blocking robber. But now it seems. They seem to have underestimated the strength of these people. Not to mention anything else, the bald half-werewolf who took the lead was at least as strong as the little golden god.